All right. I think we can go ahead and get started with the webinar.
Yep, we're good to go.
Cool, 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 cool. All right. Thank you all for joining, for taking the time out of your busy schedule, especially the week before Thanksgiving, to see what's new in Release 4 that applies to the JMT's not-for-profit clients. And some housekeeping notes, as usual. If you have a question, please submit the question on the in the questions box on the control panel to Q&A, and Luke will be monitoring that, and he'll stop me as we go through it. And I will do my best to answer your questions. Some of you like to play Stump the Trainer, and for that, we'll see how it goes. Okay. And as always, today's recordings and the PowerPoint slides will be emailed to you following the webinar sometime later this afternoon or tomorrow morning. If you need CPE credits, sorry, I still can't talk today. There are some requirements. In order to receive a CPE credit, you do have to respond to 3 out of the 4 polling questions that we will be popping up during the presentation. We also need you to complete the survey at the end of the webinar, and you need to stay on for the duration of the webinar. And if you have any technical issues, please let us know in the chat or email to Kristen or to Luke. Luke, you may want to put your email address in, but if you're having technical issues, then you wouldn't be able to get on, right? Sorry, I just thought of that. Never mind. So, for those of you that don't know me, that is my full name, Dagmar Stanton, but everybody calls me Dougie. And so I am the manager of education services, and I get to spend the time with you during this webinar. So let's just dive in. So there's a lot of updates in this latest release that came out about 2 weeks ago or so, but a lot of it doesn't really apply to our nonprofit clients, not-for-profit clients. It applies to like foreign countries. There was a lot of updates that belong to like for if you're working in the country of Germany or France. Of course, I noticed those. But so I picked out the ones that I know could apply to a lot of you. And so I'm just going to start off with accounts payable. And we've been talking about AP automation a lot for the past year and a half or longer. But now a lot of you are actually using AP automation. And and the more of you that use it, I've also gotten really, really familiar with it. And it's a really cool tool. And so what this enhancement is, so let me high level back up. What is AP automation for those of you that don't know? And I don't have a slide for this. You can request some of the past slides or look in the release notes within Intacct. But AP automation, basically from a high level viewpoint, is the vendor emails your AP bill or AP invoice, whatever you want to call it, to a specific email address. The system AI will upload the invoice, will read the invoice or the bill, and will populate and draft AP bill with the date of the invoice number. It'll look up the vendor, and if it can't find the vendor, it'll actually add the vendor as well as a draft copy of the bill. And as you apply coding to that bill, you'll build the memory bank for the vendor, and that because specific vendors, after a while, you're going to see it's the same coding, or the majority of it will be the same coding. What's changed this time is that they have implemented smarter email capabilities for AP automation. There is now a new email domain which allows you to have a more enhanced email experience. So, for example, if you would like to put auto forwarding rules in place, you can. If you want to have additional notification capabilities, you can. If you want to use more file formats, you can. And so, for example, if you want to, excuse me, have bounce back notifications, you can have an email copy for any vendor where there's a bounce back notification. You can set that in place. Some of your vendors may put their AP bill in the body of the email and not as an attachment. Well, AP automation can now read that as well. Um, Also, if the vendor sends an iPhone image, that is now able to be read as well. But if anybody sends it via an iPhone image, you know how in accounts payable bills, when you view the attachment, it splits the bill and the attachment on the screen? Um, if it's an iPhone image in the AGIC file format, it will not be able to have the split screen. So, but you can still see it. It just won't be the screen just won't be split with the bill. And if you want to make use of that, so first, let me make note of the bottom note. So if you subscribe to AP Automation after May of this year, you are already set up on this new service. And all you have to do to check if you are on this new service is that your email address domain is the ai.sage.com, whatever the beginning part is. But if you want to make use of this, you need to go to your accounts payable setup tab, click on the configuration option, go down to the automation, where it says configure you find the bill automation settings. It's about 3/4 of the way down. And you're going to click on the select configure next to the email services. There's two lines there. You want to do the one next to the email services. And then you want to make sure that a single line item that summarizes total is selected, and that under email bounce back notifications, you can, if you select send to the following email address, then you can put the email address in where you want the bounce back notifications to be sent to. So that's all there is to it. It's pretty straightforward. And if you guys want any further information on AP automation, please reach out to your client account manager, to your CAM, and we can give you a demo to it. It's a pretty cool tool, and Sage Intacct has worked out a lot of the little bugs. It's working pretty smoothly at the currently. Sorry. Let's go to the next page. Totally different subject, but still within accounts payable. For those of you running the AP ledger, which is great, it's like the vendor activity report. There are now some new filter options, and I'll show you that within Intacct. When you're running the AP ledger before, you just were able to enter like maybe a specific vendor or vendor range. You could filter on the vendor type, and that was about it. Now you can also filter based on, yeah, you still have the regular vendor range, right? Or you can select multiple vendors, where if you click on the green select vendors, you can pick and choose which vendors you want to select from. It's kind of like when you run the general ledger report and you select multiple GL account codes that aren't in a range. The other cool thing is you can also filter on a vendor group. And the vendor group is nice. Is what if you want to run the report for all of your Florida vendors or all of your Massachusetts vendors or whatever? You want to do it based on a value on the vendor record that is not a type or the vendor ID. And you have the ability to do that now with dimension groups. And so I'm going to show you this within the system. Let me go to Intacct. Where is my Intacct? There we go. So first of all, if I go to reports, I'm going to show you in case you don't know how to set up groups. If you go to reports, the setup tab, in the middle column, go down to dimension groups and select vendor. Because vendor, if you recall, is a record. Yeah, it's an accounts payable record where bills and payments are linked to, but it's also a dimension code. And so here, I already have two dimension groups set up for vendors. This one is based on all active vendors. I'll show you what that looks like. And that's just based on the status. Oh, this one, we need to fix this one. Sorry, I'm glad I checked because this is really bad. Oh, here we go. We should say status equals active will actually work better than does not equal inactive. And here, as an example, I set up Florida vendors. So this would be, I want all the vendors. I'm going to click edit so you can see the fields better. Well, I want all the vendors where the state or the territory on the vendor record equals FL for Florida. You can do this for any of them. I can also sort in alphabetical order by vendor name. So all these fields are on the record. And so you just have to find what you want to sort on right here. And same with the field here, some of the filter options. Let me scroll down so you can better. The filter options is a representation of every field that is on the vendor record in numeric and alpha order. Numeric is always first and then alphabetical order. You see all these fields? I know your eyeballs are scrolling, but if you're familiar with the vendor record, you now have the option to do that. So I just wanted to show you that. I'm going to go ahead and save it because I changed the sort order. So how does that work now? If I go now to accounts payable, and I go to the AP ledger, and let's say I only want to see the Florida vendors. I'm going to say, I'm going to do, I have no idea how much data is in here. So I'm going to go way back when to now, 11/20/2025. And again, if I fill in the start and end date, that will override what's at the top in the reporting period. And see the vendor type and summary have always been there, but now I can do my regular vendor range, which has always been there. This is the new part, the select multiple vendors and the vendor group. I'm going to do based on vendor group. And then I can also then filter by a fund if I want to, or department. The fund would be the location or entity code in your database. And I can also sort this by vendor name. If I click view, I literally have no idea if I'm going to pull up any data. Nope, I didn't think so. It would have been nice if I would have double checked and made sure a vendor that had a Florida address had data. But again, I picked the state because I knew some of my vendors had data, had addresses with a state, and I just picked Florida for the fun of it. So in your case, that would be different. You would pull the vendor record because you have actual data in the system. So now let's go back to the PowerPoint. It's a little thing, but if you have a lot of accounts payable bills, having the ability on a vendor activity report to sub-filter it based on a field on your vendor record or based on, so it's not just the vendor ID is will make a big difference. All right, let's go to the next one. This is a big one. Accounts payable vendor payments powered by Mineral Tree. We mentioned it with the last quarter release, and now it is available for everybody. And wow, it is just pouring rain down. Sorry about that. There is a new vendor payment option in Intacct, and you can actually use it directly within Intacct. Now, I know quite a few of you do vendor payments like with Bill.com or Ramp or Stamply or another third-party software. But now you have the ability to do it within Intacct, so you don't have to go to an outside vendor. And there is a seamless integration that is now available for public use with mineral trees. What's also nice about this, it supports all of your entities in Sage Intacct. So if you're a multi-entity environment, it will support that. It also supports all of your existing bill approvals and payment approvals that you have set up in Sage Intacct. You can pay the vendors with ACH or a virtual card or with a printed check within your existing bank accounts, but Mineral Tree takes care of the actual payments. Like Mineral Tree will take care of actually printing the payment and things like that. You just have to do the selection from within Intacct. There's also a faster and simpler bank reconciliations. Like I know with some of you, some of those outside vendors that I mentioned, third-party vendors, I should say, sorry, they require settlement accounts. This does not require settlement accounts, and you can also earn cashback rebates on the virtual cards. So if this is something that you might be interested in, again, please reach out to your client account manager. I understand that there is a fee involved. They can give you all the details of the fee. It's pretty reasonable from what I understand. Um, but it's worth checking out, especially if it can simplify the vendor payment process for you. So check it out if you're interested by reaching out to your client account manager, to your CAM, and we'll be happy to give more details. And if some of you want to reach out to me too, I can help you with some of the details that I know. Um, but the client account manager will need to get the ball rolling if you're serious about doing it. If it's just information, reach out to us, okay? So let's go next. Now it's time for our first polling question. So Luke just popped it up. Cool. If you would be so kind and fill out your choice on the first polling question, we'll give you about 30 seconds to do so. And all Intacct is doing is giving you another choice with payments for vendors. Oh, very cool. So Sage is still the main one. Excellent. Very good. Thank you all very much for participating. All right, let's go on. If I can get, there we go. So accounts receivable. Um, in the past several releases, there have been a lot of updates made with accounts receivable. And if any of you want a review of those, I can do that to you, give that to you at the end of this presentation if there's time. This one pertains to AR statements. I would be curious to know how many of you issue accounts receivable statements. Um, just as a side note, for those of you that issue accounts receivable statements, this enhancement still will not let you show include on the statement the detail that's on the invoice. But now you have the option to show all the transactions that have transpired within the date range you specified, or like previously, it was just showing open invoices. And now you have those choices. You can show all transactions, you can show all open invoices and credits, or just show open invoices. And you have all those other checkmark options as well. So if just side note, for those of you that issue accounts receivable statements, if I'd be interested in some of your enhancement requests. So if you have I'm going to stir the pot here. If you guys have an AR statement enhancement request, that you would like to see included, send it to me and I'll log it as an enhancement request and we'll see what Intact does with it. There are no promises, but Intact needs to hear from us with what we want to see so they know what potentially they can work on. There's no promises, just it's a wish list, right? And if we don't provide that information to Intact, they don't know what to include. So that's all there is on accounts receivable at this time. The next one has to do with cash management and banking rules. So this applies to, for those of you doing automatic bank feeds, and there's quite a few of you doing automatic bank feeds, and more banks are being added by Intact all the time. So if there was a time when your bank was not available for automatic bank feeds and you want us to check if it is now, just let us know and we'll double check it because they are adding new banks on the automatic bank feeds all the time. Um, this one, the reason rules are so important is you cannot just turn on the automatic bank feeds. You have to also, once you turn it on, you also have to have banking rules that tell the system, okay, what do you want done with the transactions that are being fed by the automatic bank feeds every 4 hours? This specific one allows you to combine debit and credit transactions, which will make matching a lot easier. And a real life example is I was working with a client who, from one source, received deposits and also received payments, like pulling out of your system. So we had to set up two different rules. One was based on debits and one was based on credits. And it didn't always do this correctly. This way, it can combine it together, and you can in another filter in the filter above, which I didn't display on this rule. We can say, okay, if, for example, if the debit or the credit is from Bugs Bunny, hypothetical, I have to use Bugs Bunny, then apply this matching rule and the dollar amounts match. So it's a little thing again, but it's a very powerful rule and it'll simplify and clean up some of your banking rules since you can combine debits and credits now on matching rules. Um, this also can apply to, like, for some of you, if you're not able to turn on the automatic bank feeds, maybe because you're using tokens and your bank won't give you a private login, username and password that you can use with the automatic bank feeds, and you're importing bank transactions from a file, which is different than importing the records into the bank reconciliation, then when you import them as bank transactions, that new functionality that came out several months ago, then rules also apply here and on that functionality. So that is the banking rule. Okay. Which leads us, since we're in the polling questions, let's go to polling question number 2. So in cash management, bank reconciliation, how are you currently reconciling your bank accounts? Are you using automatic bank feeds with banking rules, or are you doing it manually within Sage Intacct? Or are you using the new bank transactions import feature with bank rules, or are you using something else? I hope you're not still using Excel, as I discovered somebody else did. We'll give you a few more seconds. Okay. So 20% of you are using automatic bank feeds. 59% of you are doing it manually within Sage Intacct. There's nothing wrong with that. It goes pretty smooth. Some of you are using the new bank transactions import feature, and 17% of you are doing something else. Okay. I know that some of the banks also provide bank reconciliation, so be curious to know what else you are using, but that's for another time. All right. Thank you all for answering. Let's go on to the next one. This is one I got really excited about. Again, I focused on the little things that make a big difference. But this is especially exciting for those of you that came over from MIP and some other software. In the general ledger, on the general ledger report, look what you can now include. You can include unposted journal entries. Is everybody sitting down? And so one important distinction is this only applies to journal entries. It does not apply to unposted accounts payable bills or unposted AR invoices, or draft payments and accounts receivable. It only applies to unposted journal entries. And if you think about it, if an AP bill is in a draft status, it hasn't even created the journal entry yet, much less put it to draft. So there's no way it can include. But let me show you how this works. And so here's on the screen, you can see the choice. You can include posted and unposted or just posted or just unposted. I'm going to show you how this works in Intacct. This applies to two reports in the general ledger. It's the general ledger report and the journal entry reports will has this functionality. Let me show you the choices. So first of all, you have to filter on whether it's posted or unposted or both, right? When you select unposted, you're going to see on the right-hand side the available options based on whether or not you have journal entry approvals turned on. Like in my database, I don't have journal entry approvals turned on, so you're just going to see draft. But if you have journal entry approvals turned on, you may see the choice of submitted or if it's partially approved or declined, right? So let me go into the general ledger and show you what I mean. So first of all, I'm going to show you on my journal entry. Let me go to my little bookmark flag and go to GJ. And by the way, for those of you not familiar with the bookmark flag, if you're on a screen, like with General Ledger journal entries, to get to it, you have to click General Ledger and then you have to select journal entries. And then you have to select general journal and transactions, right? If you bookmark this screen, all you have to do is click on this little flag at the top right-hand corner and say bookmark this page and give it a name, and there's the bookmark. So if you're on the home screen, so let's say you just logged in, you need to make a journal entry, you can go straight to the flag. You can select GJ for the journal entry, and it gets you there. It saves a lot of clicks in between, and you can do that with any screen that you want to. Notice I have these two draft journal entries. I have number 854 and 855. I just wanted to show them to you. Now, if I'm going to run the general ledger report, and they're both dated November. So I'm just going to leave it at the current month. I don't want to include the book. Here is this new filter. So if I say posted transactions only, then it's just going to do it just like it normally does and only include posted transactions. Notice there's no other choice here. However, if I switch it, sorry, to unposted transactions, then I get this little pop-up choice. So if I ignore that, let's say if I get busy and I say I want to just see unposted transactions and I don't tell it what, look what happens if I click view. I click OK, and I get nothing because I didn't select the unposted status. So now if I have to go back and go, yes, I need to select, I only have draft available. And this is a setting that doesn't save, like in the formatting, if you have it always on detail, it saves that it's always on detail. It doesn't save this. You have to select it. I'm going to click done. And so now I'm going to click view. And now you're going to see, so here's the transaction number. You see 854 and 855. There is a new column that is now, there's a new column that is now on the general ledger report, which is draft. That way you can see this is all draft. And so if I run it now again, I'm just going to do it based on GL 5121. If I customize and I go, let's do like 5121 to, I'm going to do a bigger range just so you can see what happens. And now I'm going to do both posted and unposted. And unposted is still draft. If I now click, let me make it a little bit bigger date range. I'll go 10/01/2025 to 11/20/2025. I'm going to click view, view, and OK. Just so you can see that now it pulls from both. Oh, I still don't have any posted. Sorry. I really should check my data. It will say posted or draft. You will get that choice. I apologize. I mean, I switched databases at the last minute and I shouldn't have. But it will tell you so you can tell at a glance what's posted and what's draft. That's a really cool little feature. I'm hoping they'll expand it to other areas of the software, but they heard us. They heard us and they heard us that we said we wanted to pull unposted journal entries in the general ledger report. Okay, that is that. Now back to our PowerPoint. That's what that is. Let's switch hats a little bit to purchasing. With the last release, the last time we did What's News, we brought up that purchasing now, this is now focusing on purchasing and also AI functionality. And this applies if you have AP automation. And the reason I included this is that more and more of you that are also utilizing AP automation are also starting to use purchasing with this. So last quarter release, we mentioned this, that Intacct provided line level matching so that it uses the AI and it matches the invoice with a purchasing document that you specify the workflow or the transaction definition. It'll detect discrepancies and it allows you to resolve any issues, any discrepancies quickly. This quarter release, they've enhanced the line level matching with the following. So you now can see the exceptions in the line entries. So I'm sorry, this is a bad screenshot. It didn't expand, it didn't magnify really well, but you see an exception summary on the line item. And it'll tell you, like in this case, in this example, it was the quantity variance. It'll tell you where the discrepancy is. And then you'll be able to view exceptions to see the summary. And then you can edit and override as needed. Oops, sorry. And that's where the line enhancements have been made. And so Intacct is focusing more and more on um, enhancing purchasing to work smarter with the AP automation because most of the time purchasing documents do end up in accounts payable and they're making it a little bit easier to use along with the AP automation and purchasing. And so I don't have that set up in a demo environment, so I can't show you. But if you would like to see more functionality that I can do a demo on it. Okay. So that brings us to polling question number 3. Which purchasing feature do you think your team will use the most if you use purchasing? The Oh, we messed up on the first. Sorry, I messed up on the first one. Combining multiple documents into one transaction. That also came out last time. Line level matching or e-procurement with vendor punch-out catalogs. And e-procurement is what was brought out last quarterly release. And just as a side note on e-procurement, If you're interested in that, please let us know so we can let Intact know and they can turn it on, I think, for some of the bigger vendors like Amazon and some others. If you're interested in using that, please let us know. It's not something that's readily available yet, but Intact will do it. Oh, interesting. It's kind of close. Line level matching and automation for interesting. Thank you for that feedback. That's really well. That's close. Okay, let's go on. So here's something that's brand new. Intact is including something called Close Workspace, and that works with Copilot. And what this is, and you may have heard Sage Intacct with announcement that they're working on automating the closing process better. The closed workspace, what they've done now is provided a centralized environment so that you can manage your period close process. Now, if you're a small not-for-profit that has very straightforward month-end closes, this may not be for you, but a lot of you have a lot of steps in your month-end closing, and there's a lot of different moving parts. And what this feature does is it makes use of the checklists, and the checklist consists of tasks required to close an accounting period, and that's the core, right, of the closed workspace. In the other nice thing is in multi-entity environments, which a lot of you are, the task assignment can be created for each entity, and then whoever the task owner is, you can assign the task then to different people in each entity. So you're creating the task at the top level, but you can assign it differently at each entity level if that's necessary. You can also indicate your tasks, whether they're in progress, sorry, or completed, and you can make them codependent, like one task can't be started until another one is completed. Like for example, if a month-end close includes bank recs, you can't start on bank recs until all the data entry has been entered. And here it's the multi-entity considerations. That's kind of summarizes what I just said about multi-entity considerations. And then let's go on. The the There are also templates for tasks and checklists that are included with Copilot. Copilot comes with several system generated task templates, but you can also create custom ones, for your own processes. And like they said, the checklist templates is nothing fancy. It's just a container for the set of task templates. Think of it as a suitcase that carries your clothes. You can use the templates to create your own period close or create your own, like we just said. What's different about this, it'll automate a lot of this process, like moving it to the next step. You can get notifications. You can specify which notifications you enable in the configure close workspace, and then the Copilot will generate insights to alert the task assignees of certain, like if a task is approaching the deadline, or if a task is at risk, or if it's overdue, things like that. And then it also provides a close progress monitor. Let me show you what that looks like. I have a screenshot. Here's the top half of it. I couldn't fit it all on one screen, so I have it broken up into two different screens. So you can see it's basically like a dashboard, but not. It's based on the task. They give you the close process progress monitor. I don't know why that's hard to say. It gives you two tabs. It's the insights and the task assignment insights. It tells you what's in progress, which ones are overdue, and you can click on any of these and get the detail associated with it. It'll break it out by the categories that you may have set up. And so whatever task categories you have, those will display if they're assigned to a task. Oops, sorry. Yeah, no, that was right. And here's the bottom half. What are the top 10 tasks that are overdue? What are the next ones due? That type of stuff. And it can also integrate with Sage Collaborate. That's a lot of information here. And so, what many of you may not be aware of, because I really don't, and we don't really train on it when you're just starting out implementing, is checklists. You may or may not be aware that there is functionality within Intacct called checklists where you can already do your own checklist templates and create your own checklist, but that part is not automated. If you would like it automated, if you want to see more information on it, then let your CAM or your client account manager know, and they'll give you more information and we can potentially also demo it. Where I'm in the process of trying to get a demo environment for that right now. I don't have it yet, but you can definitely do that. Now, because it uses AI and because it uses Copilot and all that automation, there is a fee involved. I have no clue what it is. But of course, Intact will charge a little bit or a lot, I don't know. And but check it out if this is something that could help you with the close process to keep things moving smoothly and to maybe speed up the close process for the month end. Having said that, that'll lead us to polling question number 4, and then I want to go into collaborate a little bit. So here's polling question number 4. And we're just curious, how likely is your team to start using the closed workspace feature in your monthly close process? Just out of curiosity. It's something brand new. So I'll shut up so you can answer. It's a brave new world, right? And the AI functionality can be very scary, but it can also be very beneficial. You just have to use it with knowledge. And the answer is, very good. I would have said not sure yet either. So very cool. Okay. Thank you all. That was the last polling question. Very good. So now what is collaborate? If you're not familiar with collaborate, you need to be. Intacct collaborate. Hang on. Intacct collaborate is what we had right now. So if you went live in the past 4 years, sorry, you had Intacct Collaborate available to you. It just has to be turned on in your production environment. If that's something that you're interested in now, let us know. It's free. It's already part of your database. Um, Sage, I'm sorry, the reason I'm asking is it used to be called Sage Collaborate. And now it's called Intacct Collaborate. So Sage Collaborate is what you had available for now. And the new feature is now Intacct Collaborate, if I got the naming convention correct, which I think I did. What the difference is between the two, let me go to the next screen, is, oh, I got the naming convention backwards on the other screen. I'll fix that. So Intacct, no, I said it right correctly the first time. Intacct Collaborate is what you had up to now where you could add a comment or a note and the system would trigger an email to whoever you sent it to, and then you had to wait for their response. Sage Collaborate is what's coming out now, what Intacct is upgrading, and it allows you to do more real-time communication with your team. So for example, it'll help you communicate instantly within the records. So if you're putting something on an AP bill and you're tagging one of your staff members, they'll get it immediately. So you don't have to wait for email communication. And so it allows you to collaborate quicker. What the availability is. So if you are a new database, if you're a new company, starting now, it's already available, right? So if you're something but going live now, it's already available. If you are already using Collaborate currently, Intacct is going to have to migrate you to Sage Collaborate, and they'll start doing that this month. It'll take them a while, but that only applies to if you're already using it. If you're, excuse me, if you've been live for a while and you're not using Collaborate yet, you have the option. We can turn it on now, and we can you can start using Sage Collaborate now. So even the difference, you don't have to migrate because you haven't used it. So you can start using it now and the rest, but so it's free. There is no charge. If you would like Collaborate turned on, if you have not had it turned on, let us know and we can help you for it with it. Just contact support at jmtconsulting.com. Let them know you want Collaborate turned on if you are live, and we can do that. Okay. And sorry, let me back up a little bit. How that works is real quick. Is let me get to my Intacct database just to give you a real quick overview. If I go to, for example, on an accounts payable bill to an existing bill, for those side note, while I'm getting there, for those of you using Salesforce Chatter, it's the same functionality. It's just called Intacct Collaborate or Sage Collaborate. So I am in a bill. I'm just view only in the bill. Do you see this box down here? If I say let me do I have another username here at Dougie Stanton. Why is this a rent charge or whatever? Whatever the question is. When I click share, it'll send me an email. That's the old functionality because I already have it turned on, and I can respond on the email. It'll put the response on this record, and it'll keep it there. It's a really cool feature, also for viewing by auditors if you give them access to Intacct. And you can also add additional files to your comments or just make notes here without including others. You can also group users. So if you want a more in-depth demo on this feature, it'll take 30 minutes or less, then I'll be happy to provide that for you. Just let your CAM know and we will do that for you. Okay? So that is the end of Collaborate, a really quick view. And I'm going to end it with a plug for our Innovate 2026 conference. It's going to be May 4th through 6th in Washington, D.C. The agenda has been on our website. Registration is open. Please check it out. We would love to see you there. There's early discounts in place for hotel and also for registration. So we'd love to see you there. If you have any questions, are there any questions? I don't think there's any questions. That means I did a good job. Are there any questions? Again, if you have questions afterwards, shoot us an email, shoot support, contact your CAM or me personally, but I may not be able to answer right away. So just let us know. Okay? All right then. Then thank you very much for participating. Here is our address, our phone number, and our website. And we look, the next webinar, Intacct webinar in December, is on the 1099 processing within Intacct. It'll be Thursday, December 11th. So if you're interested in that, please register.
We have one quick question,
Yes.
and that's if you
What?
can please show us again how to enable the GL feature.
The unposted? The unposted transaction, that's already there. That is in Intact. It's general ledger. Go to general ledger report. And you just have to, there's no enablement at all. It's already there. You just have to select whether it's unposted, posted, or both. Okay. All
And
right.
and are all
Like,
the features available, or will there be an update to Sage Intacct?
everything is already in the system. So if you're interested in some of the features, I'd like to know what the features are. Because, like, for example, if you want to do the month-end close, that is a feature that you will have to work with your client account manager to get to obtain. But Collaborate is already there. It's just turning it on. Let us know if you need it turned on. We will help you. It's a short call. It depends on the feature, but everything is in this latest release already. Okay. Anything else? Okay. I think I think we got it all. If you think of any other questions, let us know. Okay. Thank you all for participating, and hopefully we'll see you in May. Bye bye.